Today, I want to talk about why teachers are exhausted, and it's probably not what you think. If you watch the news, you might think teachers are exhausted because they hate accountability, or they don't want to work hard, or they're secretly upset that they don't get to control all of society. Let me just go ahead and clear that up, because none of that is true. I've been teaching for over 20 years. I've been in places like Orlando, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Iowa, and overseas in England. They're all different districts, each one with different funding levels, and they all come with their own different, unique culture. Yet, I've seen the same exhaustion patterns time and again. And it's not because teaching is hard. Hard, well, that can be difficult, but it's manageable. Exhaustion comes from something else. First and foremost, the average teacher makes hundreds, sometimes thousands of micro decisions every day. Who needs to be redirected? How do I do it best for this student? Who needs encouragement? What will this student respond best to? Who didn't eat? Do I have anything that I can give them? Who's about to escalate? How do I de-escalate that behavior before it reaches a point of no return for this student? And who actually understands the lesson that I'm trying to teach versus who's just nodding their head, trying to be convincing and stay under the radar? Meanwhile, we're doing a million other things. We're adjusting the pacing and the creation of content on the fly, coming up with new example problems at the board when someone says they don't understand. We're monitoring the clock because there's never enough time, and the bell is always just around the corner. We're documenting behavior, and I don't mean just the outbursts or the fights or basic misbehaving, but every student that has an IEP or a 504, they need documentation as well. And there seems to be more of them every year. So we differentiate our instructions to best suit the needs of each student. We're answering emails from parents, from other teachers, sometimes from students who are too shy to raise their hand in class, and from administrators, both in our school and at the district level, who need more paperwork. All of that is occurring before lunch. So by 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon, your brain feels like a browser with 147 tabs open. And at least 3 of them are playing music, while 5 more are producing pop-up ads. The best part is you don't know which ones are doing what at this point. So you need to just sit down and take a breath. But you can't, because you have other responsibilities. Some teachers will stay at school and coach sports or run theater, hold clubs for students, or just do tutoring. Then, when we do get home, we have our own lives, our own kids, groceries to buy, dinners to make, a spouse who needs us to do something, and whatever else hasn't been done that everyone else on the planet has to do just like you. It's a lot. Secondly, we have emotional overload. While it's true that teaching is a cognitive practice, it's also emotional. You're not just delivering content, you're absorbing stress. Students come to you and they tell you that their parents are splitting up. Others would tell you that they're now working night shifts or after school just to help out the family. There are always a few that have panic attacks every time that there's a quiz or a test. And you carry all of that with you. Not because it's in the contract, but you do it because you're human. Now, multiply that by 100 or 150 students every day. It's not a political statement. It's not even a complaint about the career. I'm just kind of explaining to you the weight that teachers carry around with them. Third, we face constant change without recovery. There's always some new standard or new grading policy, often without any logical reason. Then we get new software because someone at the district level thought it would be a good idea, even though they themselves haven't been in a classroom in decades. And they have no idea what it takes for the students to learn. We get new initiatives and new acronyms with every professional development. And let me tell you, education loves acronyms as much, if not more, than the military. Every year, someone comes up with a new solution that promises to fix everything. And teachers are forced to adjust again and again and again. You've heard of recreating the wheel. Well, imagine rebuilding an airplane mid-flight every August, and there's no mid-air refueling for the next 10 or 11 months. The fourth thing is the phone reality. I'm going to take a minute to address the glowing rectangles in the room. Phones don't just distract students. They change the entire attention climate. Think about it. Most of us sit down to watch TV and we have our phone out. So we're looking at two screens at once. Or we go out to a restaurant. Look around. How many families are sitting there with phones rather than conversations? Teaching now includes phrases like, please put it away. No, I mean all the way away. Yes, even if it's your mom. Yes, even if it's important. No, TikTok is not important. And so many more statements just like that. You repeat yourself calmly 6, 7 times before first period even ends. And then you get to do it all over again because in the next class, another teacher somewhere else in the school has given up on the phone battle. And the students think that that means that they can use them all day long. It's not so much anger inducing, although I'll admit that can be a factor, but it's energy draining. The fifth reason teachers are exhausted is the public narrative versus the private reality. If you think the cell phone issue is a lot, I promise this one's worse. It wears teachers down constantly. We, the teachers, are always being discussed by people who haven't been in classrooms for 20 years or more. We hear things like, they're indoctrinating the kids, or they're not teaching them the basics, or you have it so good, you have the summers off. So let me talk about that. And I'll start with the summers, just to get it out of the way. Summers are literally recovery time. It's not a luxury. They're for decompressing from sustained cognitive and emotional output and burnout. The average teacher puts in 55 to 65 hours per week between teaching their classes, going home, grading papers, making lesson plans, and completing the administrative paperwork. They use their weekends and sometimes their vacation days just to stay on top of everything. This is one of the only jobs where the professional has to do work before they get to work so that they can work smoothly all day only to go home and do more work. Most professionals get breaks throughout the year. Teachers are putting in 5 to 8 hours on the weekend, and none of that includes extra duties like coaching, clubs, or activities. That's all in addition to the teaching that's required. Teachers get a chance to exhale, but even still, we're usually attending professional development or workshops during those summer breaks, on top of many of us teaching summer school or even holding down another job just to make ends meet. The job requires recovery. Now, let me be clear. I know that there are bad teachers. I'm not going to deny that. There's bad professionals in every career. But there are bad accountants, bad mechanics, bad doctors, and bad attorneys as well. And you don't hear that on the news. Systemic exhaustion is real. It's not about laziness, it's about overload. And here's the irony: most teachers don't burn out because of the students. In fact, working with the students is the best part of our day for most of us. The burnout comes from administrative overload, shifting mandates, cultural crossfire, and feeling like no matter what we do, someone is going to say that it's wrong. That's draining. And yet, every morning, teachers walk back in that door. They reteach, they re-explain, they re-encourage, they reset. Because when a student finally says, "Oh, I get it now," that moment still matters. As a Gen Xer, I'll add this. We were raised to just deal with it, get over it, don't be a crybaby. And teachers do. But dealing with it long enough without structural support turns into attrition. I've been at schools where 95% of the staff left the school within 2 years of a principal changeover because the new principal had bad management skills. The students at that school lost out. And it's pretty sad because most of the teachers that I knew that left were absolutely amazing. If we want our schools to remain stable, then we need stable adults. If we want resilient kids, then we need a sustainable system. It's not partisan, it's practical. So the next time you hear teachers are exhausted, don't assume that it's fragility. Understand it's cognitive load, it's emotional labor. Know that there is a sustained complexity without pause. And maybe ask yourself, if this many professionals are tired, what does that tell us about the system that they're operating in? Next time, I want to talk to you more about the phone issue directly, because the conversation deserves its own episode. Until then, from one Gen X teacher who still believes the work matters, let's try to fix the system without breaking the people inside of it. Welcome to the conversation.